Hey guys. Um, so I'm gonna make this video now to document what I've done for posterity. Um, Over the last 10 years, the Middle East has very quickly descended into chaos, and it's literally a black hole. Put it that way. Exact same energy as Standing Rock. It's the same energy you see in these separatist movements like Black Lives Matter. It's the same as what's in the hip hop. Well, I'm a nigger, because Slave Master called me a nigger. Well, I'm going to make my Gucci man in my future and, put all my anger to my people, and we're going to make it all ragey and shitty and make the Rothschilds a lot of money. Or, it does the same thing with the Indians. They're all like, my rice, my water. It's not your rice. It's not your fucking water. It's Mother Earth's and Father God's universe. And it's a privilege you have to live here, because we're headed for what's likely the death of humanity. I'll say that. How did I describe this? Like, it's such a mind fuck. So basically, for the last, not talk about 500 years, how all these Indians at Standing Rock talked about it. Let's talk about the last 16. Okay. Because I think that's enough. The last 16 years, we've had a mass surveillance system completely and utterly designed to ferment chaos in any region that is critical to energy and mining. That's critical to resource extraction, anything to do with raping Gaia, in other words. And what people don't realize is that the most organized, humble, potent, powerful, creative, energetic, and angry people on this planet right now are Muslims. There are over 1 billion Muslims, myself included. Okay. We never wanted depleted uranium shot across our deserts. We never asked for Wahhabism. We never asked for jihadism. We never asked for any of it. See, what that is, it's fascism. It's Judeo-Christian fascism. It's Christianity. It's Christo-capitalism. It's the idea that man can be God. It's not possible. There's no such thing. There's no gods. God is dead. This said Nietzsche, right? It's true. But who are we? Everyone's trying to ask that question now. We're not going through this process of the apocalypse to die. We're going through it to live in a new way, to wake the fuck up and realize we're not separate. We're not separate from each other. We're not separate from our machines. We're not separate from our earth. We're not separate from men and women. We're not separate from black and white, red, yellow, blue, green, fucking whatever. Okay? We're all on this rock in space, and we're just trying to make it through the day, all of us. But what I realized was one thing. And this is a deep secret I've had that I shared with a Lakota elder woman, because only women get at this. Men don't understand the ideas I have, that fluidity of consciousness across the planet, to be able to traverse the planet on the internet as I do. I mean, I don't pound your ports, okay, in your Facebook Messenger, in your Facebook account, because I want to make you crazy. No, you're crazy as you are, my Facebook friend. I'm sane. What's crazy is capitalism. What's crazy is the rape of Mother Earth. What's crazy is climate change. What's crazy is violence. What's crazy is guns. What's crazy is free speech. We don't need free speech on the internet right now in the state we're in. That's why you have all this very sophisticated AI being evolved right now. We're just not ready for it. We're not ready to know what the entire planet thinks. You know, the unstructured networks of the internet during the birth phase of the internet is literally driving people mad. Like, but that's fine. I mean, because it's leading to a mass spiritual awakening, right? It's not like we are the same creatures that we were before the internet. And we shouldn't be, right? We should learn. We should evolve and adapt. But the first thing of all is, what is the algorithm to create cooperative social networks? And how do you learn who to not trust? Who do you, in the coming age, I'll tell you this, because evolution is not a gentle thing. That's the thing about evolutionary biology that I learned in the last 8 years. Like, my mistake, I'm going to read an essay I wrote, but my mistake at MIT was that you can teach evolution with gentle language. I mean, that's a huge logical mistake. I mean, I'll read Darwin, for you right now. No, evolution is a struggle for bare existence on Earth with the resources and the things, not just matter, food and energy, but consciousness. And that's, I think, where we're going to now. We had the evolutionary transition to language not that long ago, right? We basically traversed from grunting and banging rocks to, now we can have a president who openly creates, in like literally 1 year, the makings of a nuclear apocalypse in 1 year. Just yesterday, okay, this is the mindfuck part of the whole thing. Just yesterday, Congress recommended to Mr. Trump, we need a new generation of electromagnetic pulse weapons to take out all centralized hubs on the internet. They don't want to kill people. They want to slow things down. I'm all for it, honestly. Terrorism is over as we know it in this transition. The thing is that for Muslim people, and this is going to sound weird, but for Muslim people, we actually want an unstructured internet. Like, we don't want the rich people knowing. I mean, no one wants that, right? Who wants Mark Zuckerberg and Google to own everything of the fucking planet? Nobody. Internet was never made for that. Internet was designed to be a decentralized network from the very beginning, you know? And it's crazy. This is crazy. People don't listen anymore. I mean, the sad thing about it is that, you know, people just don't listen. I'll show you this. Okay, I started hacking. How do I put this? So I was at MIT. You know, this is what they do, right? They research. This is like how this stuff works, just so you see it. They turn, they do experiments on people, right? Living lab. Well, what does that look like when you're a normal person? It looks like this person, okay, is experimenting on you. You are that. If you're on Facebook, you're there. That's Mark Zuckerberg. Well, I mean, if you get the idea. The colonizer and the slave. God, scum. It's about control. It's not about relationships. It's not about true knowledge. It's not about relationships in, you know, the true sense of the word. Not about true knowledge. It's not about relationships in, you know, this was my direct action for Minnewaconee Water's life. Actually, the first one. I've done a couple. My style of direct action is cyber floods of data. I flooded ports everywhere with the refugee ban protest. You know? So here at the Hartsfield Atlanta International Airport, I threatened to commit suicide. I trusted Facebook with my life years ago. I learned that people that are on my Facebook respond, like Mr. Whatever the fuck his name is. Mr. Bill. Here's Kat. You know, and he's a friend from high school. Her mom was traumatized in Vietnam, and 2 years ago, she woke me up. You know, we went to high school together, and you know, this is her child. That's her brother. You know, she's an artist, and she was involved in making this really edgy film called Snow on the Bluff. And she helped make that film. And basically, show you.
This is real shit, I mean, this shit just came out, you know what I mean? This my creation. This is real shit, I mean, this shit just came out, you know what I mean? This my creation, you know what I mean? My shit, this my label, my stamp, you know what I mean? This is my company truck, you know what I mean? All that's mine, all that's my thought, you know what I mean? In the process, man, I got goddamn that many movies, Six Snoring Blow Part 1, you know what I mean? On the underground level. On the street level. You can only find this shit on the street. Because it ain't on Netflix. It ain't nowhere, you know what I mean? But all my shit heavy. Yeah, that money and power, man, the real come slow, man. We need to get you in now. Yeah, man, I do it for real. I still be in the hood. I don't go nowhere. I run this shit like I've been running it. There ain't nothing going on nothing. You know what I mean? You already know I'm still big. I'm still heavy.
All right. So I'm going to tell you something about her, though. Here's the deal. About her.
This is real shit, I mean, this shit just came out there, I mean.
I gave her that phone. And she is like cursing me. She's like, I want to own you, you know, I want you to work for me. And what she was doing was playing playing up the idea of making a film, you know, for our time, you know. And she's right there. I mean, she's got it. She's right there. You know, she's working on climate change, the Illuminati, like digging deep into the sort of like network of the bullshit, you know, that goes on. Deep ass shit, like deep shit, Illuminati shit. Like fucking, she's good. She trained me well to dig, you know, and mine people. But so this is the issue that I really connected with her back 2 years ago.
Without naming names, or as little as possible, I want to break down the position I'm in right now. And it's exactly like a chess game. You know, when you get to checkmate, and it's not so much that that piece can't move at all. It's that the king, when I said that piece, I mean the king on the opposing team. It's that the king can't make any, well, even if they do make a move, they'll get caught. So it's basically, playing out the prisoner's dilemma. Chess is. And so that's what I'm doing right now, is that when you collect a certain amount of evidence about people's BS, let's say, because that's sort of what a criminal is telling everyone so that they can do other stuff. And it's anything. They just need to convince people of something so that they're allowed to be there and extort or do whatever they're doing. Because, right, nobody wants to hang out with someone who's only concerned about getting something for themselves. And if you knew the truth about criminals, you wouldn't want them around. That's what they're aware of to whatever degree, and that's why they lie. And like I said, it might come from low self-esteem or a feeling of inadequacy. Yeah. It's like, in the Asian culture, you're not even really allowed to have low self-esteem. You have to, because even if it's not about you, it's about your family name. And if your immediate family are a bunch of chumps, then it's still about the name, because at some point it mattered. That's why it became a name. So yes, that's all I wanted to say, is that your enemy may be flailing and trying to move around. The point is that whatever they do, they're going to get caught. So yes, I love chess because it really eases my mind. Because those pieces they're not humans. You're just watching the pieces go around the board. And it's basically how people move. And right, there's no words. So there's no offenses or insults or any of that. It's just black and white, It literally is. So I find the game fascinating, and I'm just so glad I finally learned how to play it. It's really one of my favorite leisure activities now. Finally, I just wanted to say that the reason why chess is so relevant is because pretty much everything in our reality is either black or white, if you consider resonance and harmony. So, for instance, I'm speaking right now. I'm speaking language. And aren't I tuned to a certain degree? Like, isn't language and alphabet sort of something like a song? And you know how you have to learn the notes to a song? Well, right. At various times, something's either a high note or a low note, or, visible or not visible, or past or present, or whatever it happens to be. And based on your position, in reference to other pieces, if we're talking about chess, but based on your position and the position of others, that determines how you're going to act, advance. And so that's why chess is so much about advancement. Now, I know that, chess is something that I reference a lot when I'm writing. So I was, that's why I talked to Carlos somewhat about chess. And of course, he had never thought of it, which is another, he just has no references for his work. He thinks he's some genius, but he just doesn't read. And sure, I know that there are people who don't read and make movies. I don't care. I just don't work with those people. And I don't need someone claiming they're a writer when they don't read. I'm the one who's willing to read and write. And yes, I was already saying that it's important to check your references because we are in a postmodernist age. That's not just some criticism, it's a reality. And so yes, to make that simple, everything's been done before. You need to go ahead and figure out where your ideas came from, which also helps a great deal when it comes to deprogramming yourself from mind control or things like that. And that's something else that people need to do about my life. You know, it's just great to be an artist and to be free of someone who would just lie for any reason. Because, it's just so, you know, I don't get frustrated for too long over these things anymore because it's my job not to. But I wish these people realized, like, how much more they would accomplish in life if they would get rid of this limited thinking of theirs. And, yeah, half of their life is lived in shadows, which, of course, half of your life should be lived in shadows, you know? Like when you're naked or when you're making love, you know? But you shouldn't be halfway in the shadows all the time, is what I agree, or what I think, especially if you're claiming to be a public person. And so movies, basically the same standards, you know, that's something else for me. It's like the same standards that we have for journalism are going to be held to movies now because of terrorism, for instance. It's just the way it's got to be, you know? And I'm sure that, you know, Netanyahu would agree with his story of the boy Ali. Whatever reason people wouldn't agree with me. Because some people think I'm alt-left or something. And the alt-left is now another name for pro-Palestinian. And I can't say that I'm pro-Palestinian. I don't want people fighting at all. It's just not good business. So, it's not good for kids, you know? That's definitely apparent. And then, right, nobody can thrive in that sort of economy. And I wouldn't say terrorists are thriving either. You know, if your money is causing you to create more terrorism, then it doesn't really have the effect money should have. That sounds like a detriment. And I can make the point over and over, just that, I mean, it's just a mess, killing people. So, I hope we can wake up soon enough.
You're conveying news to the people of America.
Yes.
People of America, we're going to be okay. Everything's all right. These are your trusted anchors.
Leaning.
Is that a news link? Use your papers. I'll shuffle it for you.
Yeah, look.
Give us that.
That's good. Pen. You need a pen.
Okay, coming up later. Thank you very much, Kat. Okay, we're going to be talking about the situation with Edward Snowden. This whistleblower, is it good what he's done for America, or are our secrets being jeopardised by his intentions? We're going to be talking about that. Also, Bradley Manning. Is Bradley Manning an American hero, or is he compromising the safety of American troops? We care about your views here on Morning Joe. We'll be talking about those later. Here with me are Brian and Kat. Brian, nice tie. What do you think about Edward Snowden? What do you think about the situation with Snowden? Have you got anything to hide? Should we be concerned about the revelations that are occurring?
I don't know what's wrong with you. I understand everything he said.
Because you're looking at him. When you don't see him and you don't see the lips.
I understand the whole thing.
Stop saying he. I'm present. Russell. What's wrong with your manners?
You're good.
Be polite.
I'm coming in tomorrow with a big necklace and I'm opening
Look beyond the superficial. That's the problem with current
They promised me
affairs.
paradise,
You
is what he
forget about
says.
what's important. You allow the agenda to be decided by superficial information. What am I saying? What am I talking about? Don't think about what I'm wearing. These things are redundant.
I'm
superficial.
Okay.
Don't be distracted. What do you think that gesture means, the way you're touching that bottle? What does that indicate? What is that? What is that? What's the subtext?
It's an opium den. So, I wrote this poem over 5 years. 5 years ago. So I wrote this poem between 2001. I wrote this poem between 9/11, 2001, and 2009. This is my mantra in life. We talk about Zen riddles a lot. My mantra in life, my algorithm for evolution of my consciousness, because I'm a mountain person. I'll show you. It's very simple. You know, she talks about lineage. That's exactly what we don't have in this country. What we're missing, what we're truly missing in this country, is any trace of memory of who we really are as people. I'm talking genetically. Who are you? Why are you the way you are? What conditions you? Why is it so mysterious to you Americans that over 1 billion people are going insane in the Middle East? Do you think it's the religion? Do you think it's you think they're crazy people? Do you think they're somehow different from you? Maybe. But those people that have been to Standing Rock know what tiger swan is. You probably have felt it before. Mass surveillance, paranoia, fear. Where is Erbil? Iraq. What is it? Few people even dare to ask their question where they're from, you know? They're like, well, who am I and why am I the way I am, right? Why am I Mr. or Dr. William Kai Erbil? Why am I the way I am? Look at that land. Where is there green on that land? Let's see. Okay. Oh, here. Who is that? Right? What is that? Well, that's the most valuable piece of land in Erbil. Now, what is it? It's geoengineering. It's water. Right? Green means water. Literally, they talk about in, Standing Rock, water is life. Well, you don't know how valuable water is in the Middle East. You don't know that all these cities are... you better bet they're going to fight hard for their water in this part of the world, right? I mean, literally, you idiots at Standing Rock and up there in northern Minnesota, you don't know what it means to fight for water. You have no idea who I am. You don't know why I am the way I am. You have no empathy for me. I'm Kurdish. I'm Armenian. I'm Turkish. I'm Arab. Cossack. Okay, let's back up a little bit here. Where's that? Do you know what this place is, my friend? Iraq. Have you ever been to Iraq? Let's see. Where is it? Right? Oh, there's Iran. There's Iraq. There's Turkey. There's Aleppo. Let's do something fun.
In the early hours of this morning, there were reports of chemical weapons attacks in the Ghouta region of Syria. Within hours, a huge number of videos were being uploaded showing gruesome scenes at a makeshift hospital on the outskirts of Damascus. There are videos of people convulsing, having difficulty breathing, with running noses, and this disturbing footage showing a shivering young man with pinpoint pupils. All of which
look at his
are
fucking
early
eyes, America.
symptoms of exposure to the nerve agent sarin.
Sarin.
Now that's not to say that this proves that this was a sarin attack, but there is evidence that it could have been. In this video, a doctor reports some of the details of what had happened.
A joke.
He says that he alone had to move the bodies of 50 children. He also says there have been many more deaths, saying that more than 200 oxygen canisters were being used to try and save people's lives.
حجم الكارثة كان كبير جدا. حجم الضحايا والإصابات كبير جدا. استنفذنا مخزوننا في جوبر من الأتروبين والهيدروكورتيزون.
The number of dead was initially estimated as dozens, but local groups have been reporting hundreds of people dead. In one case, as many as 600. So just like so many cases of alleged chemical weapons attacks in Syria, the details are really unclear. Immediately, two pro-opposition groups claimed the government was responsible for the attack. Then via state media, President Assad's regime flatly denied any involvement, saying the reports were baseless. And it would be odd timing. On Sunday, a UN chemical weapons investigation team arrived in Damascus, just down the road from where this incident happened. Sarin is a liquid nerve agent that evaporates at the same sort of temperatures as water, so in a hot, dry country like Syria, it would normally be pretty much untraceable after just a few days. So it does seem a bit weird that the government would launch a sarin attack at the exact moment when the UN is most able to get to the scene quickly, especially given that Assad's army has been making gains around the capital recently. The government has said that the reported attacks are just an attempt to divert the UN Chemical Weapons Investigation Commission away from carrying out its duties. There have been numerous allegations of chemical weapons attacks in Syria in the past year or so, with a number of subsequent allegations that footage has been faked. And those points will probably be raised again, but the sheer amount of footage that's been uploaded and the horrific, chaotic nature of it makes it hard to believe that this was some sort of stage-managed event. But if this was a sarin attack, then you'd expect the people carrying the victims into hospital, and possibly the doctors, to be affected too. In an interview with the Brown Moses blog, a chemical weapons expert from Allen Vanguard said if recently contaminated people are not subjected to any decontamination procedures, then there would be a contamination risk. He goes on to say that individual protective clothing and respirators would have to be worn by everyone coming into possible contact with it. There's no evidence of that happening here, but again, you can't rule it out based on just these videos. The point is that details are very, very rarely clear when it comes to Syria, especially when it comes to chemical weapons. So we shouldn't be jumping to any conclusions just yet.
Oh, really?
There are links in the description if you want to find out more
We
about
shouldn't jump to
sarin and
conclusions.
alleged chemical weapons use in
What's it gonna
Syria.
take, motherfuckers?
There's also a playlist of more than 70 videos from this particular incident, although we should warn you that many of them feature dead or dying people, including children, and they are extremely disturbing.
Spider. A spider's dragnet catching the wind over a maglev bullet train. Write me a spider to crawl the web, catch me if you can. I'm on a one-way ticket to paradise, let me crawl to a better tomorrow. Let me trawl, find what I do not know and see the light. The internet is a sea of human nature, a vast cloud of flesh. A great library of Alexandria, information is power. But like all power, there are those who want to keep it for themselves, Zuckerberg and Gates, Facebook and Google. Now, as far as I know, and I might be wrong though I am right, nobody has ever put up the US's nuclear missiles on the internet. I mean, it's not something I've heard about, at least according to the internet's. Hey, did you see the latest grumpy cat meme? Certainly water coolers and bulletin boards are more interesting. Now there is an unlimited supply of posters and funny jokes. What with the Arctic ice melting, ice exploding in Syria and Iraq, with constant war and death, and that certain uneasiness that you feel when your boss Googles your Facebook page. We all need a good laugh. Yay, I want to write a spider to trawl the web and fish for grumpy cat memes. I want to bury my head in the sand and forget Ferguson. I want to forget Jihad John, I am tired of Silicon Valley. I want a hut in the woods, 10 acres and a mule. The Amish have it right, the only cloud in their towns are those that bring rain. Too bad a storm is coming.
This under your belt. What? Actually, just keep recording. Sorry.
Skal den ha løsner? Det spiller ingen tid? Ja, det er sikkert. It's fine. It's fine. It's dark outside.
You motherfucker!
Just handle it yourself. Jag som sa för...
I think for me Frost is like a dark angel.
I wonder what Munch's paintings would be if he didn't feel the agony of living or the easiness of being alive compared to the inevitable death.
I have no problems being self-destructive if the whole thing is something that I like. sign if something goes wrong.
That's enough of that. Let's just have some safety now. Ghost in the shell. Am I Kurdish or Turkish? I'm not even going to pretend to try to explain this to you. But you can look at those pictures, right? And start there. That's him too. I've been healed. I'll tell you a little thing. Look at this. Look at this poem. Kurdish oil tensions show Iran was a Trump sideshow. Kurdish referendum fallout should quickly spiral. Whoops. Freudian slip. Kurdish referendum fallout could quickly spiral into substantial disruption of oil exports. Okay, that is the real black snake. You Standing Rock motherfuckers. You cowards, you dogs. You have no fucking idea what you're doing. Slow down. Do not accelerate separatism. Relax. Back away. Do you see that? That's World War III. My hometown is the black hole son of World War III. And you better bet I know how it's going to be unveiled. For over 10 years I've been writing poetry about it. Revelation from God. Except for me, it's data. And God is not, as I see it, it's the collective consciousness of Mother Earth. It's all the people on the planet I've ever touched. Everything I've ever seen on the net. In person. My trajectory through time and space. Both digitally and real. Everything I've seen and done led me to predict the future. And here it is. The book of Revelation for today. In one poem. The descent of man. And then there was light. E equals mc squared was revealed by the sun. Let's look at that one. Let's see what that is. Right. I want to interrogate your mind a little bit. Maybe fuck it a little bit. Oh, look. Trinity. Oh, sorry. Wait. Sorry. Whoops. Trinity. You get the idea.
An EMP attack, they say, is an intense burst of electromagnetic radiation. It can be triggered by detonating a nuclear weapon at high altitude, a weapon that could be launched by a rogue nation or a terrorist group with access to it. Detonated low to the ground, atomic weapons have a devastating physical shock. But detonated miles up in the atmosphere, experts say, the main impact is electrical, energy that doesn't kill people but spreads like lightning, striking any electrical grid or circuitry, feeding into them, burning them out. Whole cities could go dark.
That means no water. That means no food. That means no telecommunications. That means no transportation. That means no medical supplies.
They started pushing in the cops game and they're burning us like cattle.
This clip from a recent National Geographic special gives us a sense of what life might be like after an EMP attack.